Dr. Alexander, thank you. Principals, thank y'all. Having walked in shoes like you walk in for a lot of years, I know what you do day in and day out, and it makes a difference. And we're so grateful you are with us and doing what you do. Dr. Alexander said it better than I could ever say how much we're grateful for what each of you do every day for the kids and families and staff in your schools. Keep up the good work. You never get recognized enough. Get fussed at a lot. Never recognized enough. Okay, it is time for Valle Crucis School update. This is an interesting time to be talking about Valle Crucis School, isn't it? And by the way, any of you here that if you, well, let me just think about this one. I started to say, if any of you need to leave, we understand. You don't have to stick with the whole meeting if you have other business elsewhere, but we'd love for you to stay if you can. Okay, now, Dr. Alexander.
Okay, so this is the part where I talk about our new Valle Crucis School. And so I had a lot of questions about how did the school hold up with the flood. And so it did really well. We were super happy about it. So the only water that came in was in Area C across Broadstone, but that's because there's an intentional gap in the retaining wall due to where the stairs are located. So if we ever thought we were going to have another flood like that and we didn't want any water in it, we could just put up a floodgate. So they said, no big deal, everything looks good. So we were really happy about that. So currently the storefront and curtain wall is complete. All areas are enclosed. They're waiting to hang the doors though because they're super expensive and they don't want them to get damaged. So the fact that they're not up is intentional. The rough ends are completed in all areas. The ceiling grid's being installed and the trim out is happening in areas C and B. Wood siding and naturally adhered stone should be finished in November. The temporary permanent power is ready to be connected. In fact, it was supposed to be connected tomorrow, but with the hurricane and needing to, the electrical company needing to handle those repairs, you know, that's kind of slowed down for a minute. But I wanted to take a second to give a shout out to Blue Ridge Electric. I mean, they have been amazing. I heard this morning that there were 29,000 connections, and after the hurricane, they were at 26,000 were out. And in the short time since that happened, they learned last night the last one was resolved. So I think we need to give a huge shout out to that team. Heidi Reagan was talking about the hours that they were working, 14, 16 hours a day. They would try to get them to take rest breaks, and they were like, no, this is our community, and they just kept working. So I think that a huge shout out to them. I just wanted to mention that. But once they are kind of freed up, then we'll get that temporary power installed. The paving and grading company that we were using is currently off project. A new company is scheduled to come in next week, so hopefully that company won't be called to do infrastructure work. But again, the hurricane has impacted that a bit. The roof is dry and dehumidifiers are going. Carpeting will start once power gets on and into the building. One thing that has been a bit of a slow up is the state wanted a civil engineer to revise the septic system design, so there's been some back and forth around what that final design will be. H&M is waiting on feedback for what that final design will look like, and once they have that, they will get the water and sewer in line. So, I don't normally talk about the current Valle Crucis School, but it seems like an appropriate time to do so. So if you hadn't heard, it flooded. However, it is no fault of the Valle Crucis staff. I'm telling you, Dr. Smith and her folks worked so hard to keep water out of that, and that I just can't commend them enough for their efforts. And so we were used to some flooding in that school, but this was significant flooding. And so we had about 4 feet of water in parts of the building, 20 rooms in the gym. So we do have to pay attention to that. Currently, the county inspector has inspected it and has a do not enter sign on the door, and we have no trespassing signs on the property. So I think it's important for everyone to honor that so that we can secure the building and then analyze what needs to happen with it moving forward. In fact, no one's allowed on property without the permission of Eric Bolick, our director of maintenance.
Thank you for that update. And Dr. Alexander failed to mention that she was also out there trying to help keep the school from flooding.
Well, I didn't do, obviously I didn't do much, but.
Giving moral support to Dr. Smith,
Yeah.
her husband, and several of her
Our
maintenance
maintenance crew, yeah.
Yeah.
I need to mention, if it's okay, if I give a little bit more, on that. There were several folks out there on, I think it was Wednesday, Bonnie, was it Wednesday, there was a crew out there kinda late.
They started rotating in 4 o'clock Thursday morning.
Yes, and so then, there was 5 maintenance folks out there all night. That night, Dr. Smith and her husband, Dr. Smith doesn't listen to me very well, because I'll tell her to stop stuff and she won't. But she and her husband were out there that night, so just the number of maintenance folks that were there trying to support that effort is just to be commended, and I really, truly appreciate them.
Yes, and all of us do. I know you tried your best. It was just too much. It is time now for public comment. Do we have anyone signed up? Okay. We have 4 people signed up, so let me review the guidelines that govern public comment during our school board meetings. Just a few things that we need to mention. Each person that's speaking, you'll be allowed 3 minutes to make comments. And Dr. Alexander, if you will you keep time on this for us? And at the end of the time, a little tone will go off, and we will need to be wrapped up at that time. If there's a group, well, this is not enough for a group, so that's no fun. Comments that are made are to be made to the entire school board and not to individual members of the school board. And that we ask also that all speakers be courteous in your language and presentation, and we will certainly be that way with you. There are a few things prohibited in public comment. If there's a complaint, you're prohibited from expressing complaints about specific employees and students in open session. That's a legal matter, and we cannot do that in public session. And we cannot discuss anything concerning the candidacy of any person seeking public office, or matters that must be taken up in closed session that are attorney-client privilege matters. And I believe that that's the guidelines that would govern this. So, having said that, the first person I see on the list, I believe, is Mary Tribbett. And Ms. Tribbett, come on up.
Hello, Dr. Alexander, Dr. Childress, fellow board members. I want to express my appreciation for all the hard work that you've done in the community. I guess my only question is, I have, let's see, I guess 3 generations have been to Valle Crucis, my late husband, my children, now my grandchildren. And one of my granddaughters, Aubrey Platt, had indicated, are they gonna have the opportunity to meet at the school to say goodbye to the old school? And are you gonna present the plan as to what is gonna happen with our children? And that's all I have to say.
Okay, well, thank you. I failed to, one of the things I failed to mention is that we don't respond during the meetings. We take whatever's commented as information. But I can say to you that there will be specific information come forward as final decisions are made, and your question will be answered at that time that's appropriate. So thank you for bringing that desire to us. I have Mitch Mackey, come on up, Mitch.
My comments will be short and sweet. I just want to tell everyone my appreciation of the school system, all the employees. What they've done the last 2 weeks is above and beyond what anybody could expect. And I I think they're to be commended for that. And especially our principal, Dr. Bonnie Smith, talked a little bit about that. Basically, she was at the school trying to protect it and clean it up from Tuesday of that week when the first rains hit. She was there 24/7, and I had to remind her to sleep and eat. And I'm currently the president of the Valle Crucis School PTSO, and just to let the school system know that we're behind you 100%. We're always proud of you, and especially proud now. And anything that you need from us going forward, we'll be there for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mitch. You just, I don't want her head to swell, but you just can't say enough about the extra effort and care that Dr. Smith has shown and given during this very challenging year out of Valle Crucis School. Also, we appreciate your leadership out there too, and your comments about the work of the school system. And I have also Mason Heistan. Hope I pronounced it.
That's okay, Houston, but it doesn't matter. It's a hard last name. I prefer my maiden name, which is Clement.
I can pronounce your
But I love my
name very
husband, so
well.
I'm a Houston.
Thank you, Mason.
So I'm Mason Clement Houston. I grew up in Valle Crucis, attended Valle Crucis from 1979, and graduated from Watauga High School in 1992. And it's a special place. Dr. Smith has filled lots of great shoes. Kenneth Reese and I were just talking about Mr. McNeil, our principal, who's still a farmer in the county. But having grown up in Valle Crucis and now raising my kids in Valle Crucis, I'm very connected to the community. I've had 2 boys come through, one's in college, one's getting ready to graduate from Watauga, and I have a current middle schooler who's in 7th grade there, a little girl. I grew up on stories of the mission school, which is now called the Valle Crucis Conference Center. The woman who sold my parents their land where my mom still lives attended the mission school. She was a tailor who looked down on her house and thought, why did my parents make me come and stay here for school? And those are the stories I grew up on. And I think it is very appropriate, as you mentioned, Dr. Alexander, that our community schools stay in their communities. And I think it's a really unique opportunity that we have a former school with a cafeteria in place in Valle Crucis. The church bells ring every day. It's where I got married. I hear it at lunch every day at noon. And I think it would be really special, just as my opinion, for our young kids and our middle schoolers to attend the Mission School Conference Center if they can, in the place of not being able to be in their school. Would it take a lot of creativity, a lot of elbow grease, a lot of ingenuity? Yes, but as the mountain people have shown, we are resilient and tough, and we can make it happen. I would also like to say, I actually had a dream about this, that I would love to see our middle schoolers be able to stay there in mobile trailers so that all families could stay together. I have a number of single mom friends who the idea of their kids being separated from one another would be practically impossible. So I just wanted to let you guys know, thank you. Thank you for putting an importance on Valle Crucis School. Thank you, Dr. Smith, all of our amazing teachers who love our kids so well. They long for one another, they miss their school, they drive by it every day and know they're never gonna get to set foot in there, and it's heartbreaking, but I think it would be really special if we could keep Valle Crucis School in Valle Crucis, and praise the Lord that the new school got no water in it. So, thanks, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mason. Watch Mason grow up. Thank you for your comments, and that concludes all the public. One more, Ms. Coleman? Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped one. I'm sorry, Mr. Coleman. Please go forward. I'm sorry, sir.
No problem. So yes, my name is Matt, and I've got 4 kids at Hardin Park, and just a shout out to these guys, current and past administration and leadership, just awesome. We're appreciative on so many levels, above and beyond even this response to this disaster. So it's just been an incredible experience. But a special thank you just for, like you mentioned, we were contacted, not even just by all 4 of our teachers, but by more than that. And so we really do consider it our community, and thankful for that. I was very encouraged to hear about just the aggressive plans, the creative plans to get reopened and the bus routes. And I just second that with all my heart, for the sake of kids and learning and testing and meals, and the sake of parents and working in the community. We all need it. We all need the schools to get open. So I love that, and I hope and pray that this week those plans can happen, and we can have a celebratory announcement this week about next week. That would be wonderful for everyone. I would like to, maybe since you're not going to answer questions here, I'll say it in the form of a hope. Well, I was encouraged to hear about the community bus stops. And I'm already thinking, just, all right, I've got my mind on opening up soon, but then I've also got my mind on the winter to come, and snow days and all of that. And I do hope, and you probably already are, but this will just be fuel for what you're doing. I hope that those bus routes, whether that's a third option with what we do, could apply to snow days as well. Because we're missing a lot of days, and we don't want to get through this, then have the winter slowly kill us through those. And just that urging, we need to get to school whenever possible, over the winter. Snow days and even remote days just are not anywhere close. And so just want to get there. So I hope that's being taken into consideration with those community bus stops. And just in both of these, I would just urge as early communication as possible. I tried to talk to some community members, what would be valuable. That's one thing. And then lastly, just how can we help you? So if there's anything that we as parents can communicate that will help with the state, I don't know what all battles you all fight, but let us know. Sometimes parents can wield some power. So yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Coleman, and again, apologize for skipping over you there. We appreciate your comments very much.